Hey love, so for this tutorial I'm going to show you how I made this lovely shirt. So I basically just used double crochet for this shirt. So this tutorial is a repetition of just one stitch, which is the double crochet. Hey guys, so in this tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to make a simple shirt. So I had some leftover yarns from the last tutorial I did, and I decided to make a shirt to go with the sweater. So for the shirts, you're going to be working with two panels, the left and the right panel. And I'm going to start by, so what you're going to do is you're going to measure your waist and then add 2 inches to the measurement. So my waist is 32 inches and then I added 2 inches, making it a total of 34 inches. So I'm going to divide that 34 inches into 2, meaning I'm going to have 17 inches on both sides. So the left panel is going to be 17 inches and the right panel is going to be 17 inches. So just figure out your measurement and then add 2 inches to it and then divide it by 2. So your left panel is going to be half of the measurement, your right panel is going to be half of the measurement. So since I already figured out my measurements, I'm going to start by making a chain of 70, because 70 was what gave me the amount of inches I want. So and then I noticed the yarn I'm working with is quite stretchy, so I won't have problem with my hips. But if the yarn you're working with is not like really stretchy, you might want to add a few more inches to the measurements so that it can easily pass your hips. So it all depends on your yarn and also your tension. So but the yarn I'm working with is quite stretchy, if you notice. So yeah, I'm going to just make a chain of 70 for the left panel, then we'll move over to the right panel. So I have a total of 70 chains. I'm going to chain 1 and then go into the first stitch with 1 double crochet. Go into the next stitch with 1 double crochet and the next stitch with 1 double crochet. So just continue with 1 double crochet in each stitch till you get to the end of the row. Now I've come to the end of the first row. I'm going to chain 1. Now going to the first stitch with 1 double crochet. So you're basically just working with double crochet. So continue with 1 double crochet in each stitch till you get to the end of the row. So from here on, you're just going to be working with double crochet till you have the amount of rows you want. I'll let you know how many rows I did when I'm done with the amount of rows I want before we work on the hips the hip part of the shirt. So mind you, you're going to be making 2 panels, like 2 of the same thing. So whatever you do for this panel is what you're going to do for the other panel. Now I have a total of 14 rows of double crochet, so you can make it longer depending on how high-waisted you want the shirt to be. But I have 14 rows of double crochet. So now from the 15th row, I'm going to start increasing on both sides of the panel. So chain 1, in the first stitch go in with 2 double crochet. So 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet. Now continue with 1 double crochet in the rest of the stitches till you get to the last stitch where you're going to put 2 double crochets. Now the main reason you're increasing is so that you can get the crotch of the shirt, the part between the legs. So I've come to the end of this row. In the last stitch, I'm going to do an increase. So I'm going to put 2 double crochet in the last stitch. Now I have an increase at this end and an increase at this end. Now chain 1, turn over, you're going to do another row of increase. So in the first stitch, go in with 2 double crochet. Now just continue with 1 double crochet in the rest of the stitches till you get to the end of the row where you're going to do 2 increase in the last stitch. So you're going to do 2 double crochet in the last stitch. So what you're going to do is you're going to do 4 to 5 rows of increase, or you can do more depending on how you want the shirts to be, but I'm just going to do about 4 to 5 rows of increase on both sides of the shirts, and then we'll work on the next part of the shirt. So I'm just going to continue with this till I have my 4 or 5 rows of increase. So don't forget, you're putting 2 double crochet at the beginning of the stitch and 2 double crochet on the last stitch. So I'm done with my rows of increase, and I did a total of 5 rows of increase on both sides of the panel. So this is going to be the crotch of the shirt, which is the part between the legs. So now from here on, I'm going to be putting 1 double crochet in each stitch. I'm not going to be doing any increase from this point. I'm just putting 1 double crochet in each stitch. So this point you're going to do is for the legs of the shirts. So you're just going to continue and do the amount of rows you want for the leg of your shirt. So if you want the shirts to be long, you can make a lot of rows, or if you want it to be really short, you can just do a few amount of rows. So I'm probably going to do about 5 to 6 rows. I don't know yet. It all depends on how long 5 or 6 rows is going to be. So but yeah, I'm just going to be putting 1 double crochet in each stitch. I'm not doing any increase or decrease like I said. So just 1 double crochet back and forth until I have the amount of rows I want, and then I'll definitely let you know how many rows I did of no increase or decrease. So now I'm done with both panels of the shirt, and they're both identical. So like I said, whatever you do for one panel is the same thing you're going to do for the other panel. So I did a total of 6 rows of no increase. So remember, we did 5 rows of increase, and then I did 6 rows of no increase for the leg of the shirt, which is what I did for both sides. And same goes for the other panel. So 5 rows of increase and 6 rows of no increase or decrease. So now I'm just going to join the 2 panels together. So as you can see, I already joined one side of the panel, so I'm going to do the same on the other side. So I'm going to be using my yarn needle to join the 2 panels together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my stitch marker and mark off. So I'm just going to keep this here. So I'm going to use my stitch marker to mark off the legs of the shirt. So since I did 6 rows of no increase, I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is where I ended my increase. So I'm going to use my stitch marker and put it on the 7th stitch from this end where the increase ended. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now do the same for the other panel. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and put your stitch marker on the 7th stitch, just so you can know where you're going to stop when you're stitching the 2 panels together. So now I'm just going to take the 2 ends of the panel, but first of all I'm going to tie the end of the yarn, just so when I'm stitching it's going to stay or it's going to hold. So now I have a knot at this end, so I'm just going to put my yarn through this end and this other end. So because I did in knots, it's not going to pass through. So I'm just going to go through it again. So now that my yarn is in place, I'm just going to stitch. So pass through this two and pull through this end, then pull. Now go back and then go forward. So you can stitch this anyhow you want, but this is the way I prefer to stitch. So go back and then go forward. So I'm just going to continue this until I get to where the stitch marker is. So now I'm done stitching the side of the panel. So I used my needle to stitch all the way down to where I stopped increasing, which I did for the other part. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to join the legs. So I'm going to start with one leg. You can cut off your yarn and retie it just to stitch up the legs, but I'm just going to continue with the same yarn. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to join this two part of the leg. So join these two panels together the leg, and then I'll do the other part. So try to make sure that you are both on the same level. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So short, and these are the legs, these are the leg holes, and this is the part between the legs. So I'm just going to do the waistband for this shirt. So you can decide to skip putting the waistband and just use a strap or a rope for the waistband, but I'm just going to put the waistband. So if you've watched my tutorials, you know how I do the waistband or the cuff of most of my outfit. So I already attached my yarn. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to chain 1. Now I'm going to make the amount of chains I want for the waistband. So if you want your waistband to be long, you're going to chain more. If you want your waistband to be short, you're going to chain less. So I'm going for like a short waistband, so I'm going to make a chain of 6. So I have 6 chains, and make an extra chain which serves as a chain 1. Now just put 1 single crochet in each stitch. So I'm putting 1 single crochet in each stitch. Now I've come to the end of the row. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to slip stitch into the next stitch. So I'm not slip stitching into the same stitch, I'm slip stitching into the next stitch. So close up the round, and then to start a new round, slip stitch into the next stitch. Now turn over and put 1 single crochet in each stitch. Chain 1, turn over, put 1 single crochet in each stitch. To close up the round, slip stitch into the next stitch. And then slip stitch into the next stitch to start up a new round. So you're going to be slip stitching into the front stitches. Now turn over and put 1 single crochet along this row. Come to the end of the row, chain 1, turn over, continue with 1 single crochet along the row. Now you've come to the end of the row, slip stitch into the next stitch to close up the round, and then slip stitch into the next stitch to start up a new round. So you're going to continue with this till you're done going round the waist hole, and then you get back to this end and join the 2 ends together. So just continue with this till you're done, or till you have your waistband round the whole of the waist. I'm done with the waistband of the shirt, and this is what it looks like. So when I got to the end, I just joined the 2 ends with a single crochet. So that's it for the shirt, and if you haven't subscribed, please don't forget to subscribe. And if you have any questions concerning this tutorial, you can leave a comment down in the comment section, and I'm definitely going to reply. So thank you so much for watching again, and like I said, don't forget to subscribe. See you guys in my next tutorial.